Chapter 1 Intro.
Hey there, smart home enthusiasts. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a topic that's more vital than caffeine on a Monday morning. Backups for your home assistant setup. Seriously, whether you're just starting out or you've been around the block, keeping your data safe is mission critical. This is my personal advice as an IT specialist with over 35 years of experience. So buckle up, because we're about to make backups not just important, but downright entertaining.
Our patience is waning. Is this entertaining?
Chapter 2 The Importance of Backups.
Alright, let's talk about why backups are as important as a good Wi-Fi connection. Imagine spending hours tweaking your smart home setup to perfection, from automations to voice commands, only to have it all wiped out because your system decided to throw a tantrum. No one wants to redo all that work, right?
No! God, please, no! No!
Backups are like the safety net for your smart home trapeze act. They catch you when things go wrong, keeping your automations, settings, and integrations safe and sound. With Home Assistant and all its components, you receive frequent updates each month. There's a significant chance that sooner or later, one of those updates could cause your system or one of its components to crash. But with a backup in place, you'll be able to restore your fully functioning Home Assistant in just a few minutes. No sweat, no tears, and most importantly, no lost automations.
Chapter 3 Internal Backups.
First, let's check out Home Assistant's internal backups. Head over to Settings, then System, and finally Backups. To create a backup, click the blue Backup Now button in the bottom right corner. You can choose between automatic or manual backup. If you go the automatic route, it starts immediately. For manual backups, you get to select the components you want to back up, give it a name, and choose a location for your backup. Once you hit Create Backup, Home Assistant will start backing up your chosen data. Boom! Your backup is being created. But don't get too comfy. Keeping backups only on your device is like putting all your eggs in one basket. Let's level up and explore how to stash those backups offsite. And later, we'll set up automatic backups to keep things rolling smoothly.
Chapter 4 Backups to Google Drive.
Time to set up backups to Google Drive. This way, even if your system takes a nosedive, your precious data is chilling in the cloud, like it's on a tropical vacation. If you're already using Google Drive, consider creating a new account just for backups. A fresh, empty drive dedicated solely to your smart home data. Think of it as a VIP lounge for your automations. Head over to Settings, click on Add-ons, and then Add-on Store. Search for Home Assistant Google Drive Backup. And here's the kicker. It probably won't show up. Don't panic. It's not hiding. It just needs a little nudge. Click the three dots in the top right corner. Select Repositories from the options and paste the repository link. You'll find it in the video description for easy copying. Add the repository. Close the dialog box. Clear the search box. And look again for the add-on. If it still plays hard to get, give the page a quick refresh. It's like a magic trick for tech glitches. Once you've found Home Assistant Google Drive Backup, click on it and hit Install. This might take a minute or two, so why not treat yourself to a coffee while you wait? Hydration, or caffeination, is key. When the installation wraps up, enable Start on Boot and Watchdog. These settings ensure the add-on runs automatically and restarts if it decides to take an unscheduled nap. Want quick access? Toggle Show in Sidebar. It's like pinning your favorite app to your phone's home screen. Start Home Assistant Google Drive Backup. Now for the fun part, the Google Authentication dance. Open the add-on by clicking Open Web UI or Backups from the sidebar if you enabled it. On the Get Started page, you'll see a big blue button that says Authenticate with Google Drive. It's impossible to miss, unless you're actively trying to. Click it and choose the Google account you want to use. When prompted, click Continue to confirm you trust Home Assistant Google Drive Backup. Ignore the Send Credentials button. This option often doesn't work. Instead, copy the authorization string, return to the Home Assistant add-on page, paste it into the input box, and hit save. Boom! Problem solved. And just like that, drum roll please. Your Home Assistant Google Drive backup is installed, and your first full backup is soaring to the cloud. Bravo! To close the Share Error Reports dialog at the top of the screen, you'll need to decide whether to send error reports to the developer. Choose wisely, or just go with your gut. There's no wrong answer here. In the settings, you can customize your backups to fit your needs. Feeling impatient? You can create a manual backup by hitting the big blue plus. And there you have it. Your backups are now flying to Google Drive at regular intervals. Secure, simple, and so satisfying. Cloud backups are amazing, but don't forget to keep a local backup too. After all, 2 is better than 1.
Chapter 5. Backups to a network storage.
Prefer to keep things local? Maybe you trust your home network more than the mystical cloud. Or perhaps you just want a second backup location for extra peace of mind. Either way, it's time to set up backups to a network device. For this tutorial, I'll be using a Synology network attached storage because, well, it's the only network storage system I own. If you've got a different setup, don't worry. Most of the steps will still apply with a little creative flair. We need a dedicated user account on the network storage that Home Assistant will use. Think of this user as your VIP butler, tasked with shuttling your backup data to its safe haven. Open your storage device interface and create a new user. Give it a snazzy username like HA Backup Butler and a password that's strong enough to impress your IT friends, but not so complicated that you need a Rosetta Stone to remember it. With your shiny new Butler account ready, it's time to roll out the red carpet for your backups. Let's create a cozy shared folder for them to live in. Navigate to your storage settings and create a new shared folder. Name it something like HA Backup so you don't have to play hide and seek later. Assign permissions for your backup butler, aka the user you just created. Make sure they have full read and write access. You don't want them arriving at the door with your data only to be told, access denied.
Access denied. Access denied.
That's just awkward. Now for the grand finale, connecting Home Assistant to your network storage. Let's bridge the gap. Head back to your Home Assistant. Click on Settings in the left-hand menu, then navigate to System and Storage. Hit the Add Network Storage button. In the dialog box that pops up, fill in the details. Start with the name and select its purpose. I'm choosing backups because, well, that's what we're doing here. Add the IP address of your storage device. Next, select your protocol. Samba is a solid option, and it sounds fancy. In the Remote Share field, type in the name of the shared folder you created earlier. Lastly, enter the credentials for your butler, username and password. Click Connect, and you're done. When you check your backup settings, you should now see 2 locations listed: Home Assistant's local disk and your shiny new network share. Congratulations! You've just elevated your backup strategy to pro status. Now you've got a solid backup game plan.
Chapter 6. Schedule automatic backups.
Backups are like flossing. Important, but so easy to forget. Lucky for you, and for me as well, Home Assistant doesn't mind being your responsible friend who handles it all without complaining. Let's set up automatic backups so you can sleep easy, knowing your smart home secrets are safe. Not everyone has network storage, but hey, Google accounts are free, and you probably already have one since you're watching this video on YouTube. For this tutorial, we're assuming you've already installed the Home Assistant Google Drive Backup add-on. If not, go grab it first. Open your backups from the sidebar, or click Open Web UI from the add-on if you didn't enable the Show in Sidebar option. Head over to Settings and configure your automatic backups. Decide how many backups you want to keep locally and in Google Drive. This prevents your storage from becoming a hoarder's paradise. If you have multiple backup locations available, Pick one for your local backups. Pick wisely, like choosing your Hogwarts house. Use the checkboxes to decide what to do with existing backups. Each checkbox has an explanation below it, so I won't bore you with the details here. Set the number of days between backups. Setting this to 0 will disable automatic updates. Don't be that person. Choose your backup time because even backups deserve a schedule. Protect them with a password if you feel fancy, and give them a snazzy name template. The rest of the options are pretty straightforward, but here are a few must-haves. Enable staleness notification, so Home Assistant can nudge you if something goes wrong. Think of it as a friendly backup whisper. Enable backup staleness sensor and enable backup state sensor. These sensors are automation gold. Trust me, you'll want them. And yes, we'll explain this later. Confirm before large deletes. A safety net for when you're feeling indecisive or just plain clumsy. Enable Google Drive upload, because that's the whole point of this setup. Stop on low disk space. Nobody wants their storage filled to 100%. When the add-on politely asks for help, step in and declutter your files like a pro. Hit save to keep your new backup settings. With automatic backups scheduled, you've officially achieved backup nirvana. Now you can focus on the truly important stuff, like automating your coffee maker to start brewing the moment your alarm goes off. Cheers to a worry-free smart home.
Chapter 7. Failed Backup Notification.
Failed backups. They're like that one friend who always cancels plans at the last minute. Annoying but not entirely unexpected. Thankfully, Home Assistant has your back and will keep an eye on your backups, letting you know the moment something goes rogue. This magic happens thanks to sensors we enabled earlier. Now it's time to explain what these sensors do and why they're important. The backup staleness sensor. This trusty little sensor tracks how fresh your backups are. If your backups start to resemble that forgotten sandwich in the fridge, stale and potentially problematic, it'll alert you. It ensures you're always reminded to create a fresh backup, keeping your smart home safe and ready to restore. It keeps track of the last successful backup's timestamp and can trigger notifications if a backup is not recent enough. The backup state sensor. This is like a play-by-play commentator for your backup process. It lets you know if a backup is successfully completed or if it threw a tantrum and failed. Real-time updates so you're never left guessing. Let's set up notifications to keep you informed when backups misbehave. Head to Settings, then Automations and Scenes, and click the Create Automation button in the bottom right. Choose Create New Automation. Press Add Trigger. Select Entity, and then pick State. Use the backup state binary sensor as the trigger. Skip the next few boxes and in the To box, set the state to Problem. This ensures the automation activates when your backup decides to go on strike. Skip the And If section. We want to be notified every time a backup fails. Go to the Then Do section and add an action. Select Notification and pick your favorite method: email, push notification, or even a message to your smart speaker. Imagine Alexa dramatically announcing,
"Attention! Your backups are in shambles."
Truly iconic. If you're feeling ambitious, you can add multiple actions for multiple notifications. Why settle for one when you can have email alerts, phone notifications, and Alexa yelling at you all at the same time? It's like a backup failure symphony. Craft the message. Be clear but dramatic.
Backup alert. Your most recent Home Assistant backup failed. Please check your backup settings and save your smart home from imminent doom.
Fill in any additional mandatory fields. For example, if you choose email notifications, add the target address where the alert should be sent. Click the Save button to keep your new automation. Give it a nice name like Backup Guardian, and hit Save again. Congratulations! You now have an automation guarding your backups. Test it. You'll sleep better knowing it's reliable. You don't need to simulate a failed backup to make sure your notification system works. If you've already closed your automation, just reopen it and click on the 3 dots in the top right corner, or from the list of automations, click on the 3 dots to the right of your automation. Select Run Action from the available options. Within seconds, you should get your notification. With these notifications in place, you'll always be in the loop when backups go rogue. Think of it as your backup therapist, helping you work through the tough times and get back on track. Now, go enjoy the peace of mind that comes with being prepared for the unexpected. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to create a video about Home Assistant automation notifications.
Chapter 8. Restoring Backup.
So disaster struck. Maybe an update lost its mind. Maybe you experimented a little too much. Or maybe your smart home finally decided it's done putting up with your antics. Whatever the reason, Home Assistant is down, and you're in panic mode. But don't worry, that's exactly why we set up backups. Time to hit the undo button and bring your smart home back to life. Restoring a backup is like a time machine for your smart home, except you don't need a DeLorean or 1.21 gigawatts of power.
1.21 gigawatts!
Scenario 1. Home Assistant is accessible. If Home Assistant is still up and running, even if it's only limping along, log in and navigate to Settings, System, Backups. Click on Show All Backups. From the list of your backups, pick the most recent one, or the last one before things went haywire. Select what you want to restore. Obviously, for a full resurrection, just tick all the boxes. Hit Restore. Then prove you really mean it by clicking Restore again. Let Home Assistant work its magic. Be patient. Grab a snack or two. Within a few minutes, your Home Assistant will be like new and fully functional again. Scenario 2. Home Assistant is not responsive. If Home Assistant is completely unresponsive, first, you need to track down your precious backup file. If you've been diligent, it's safely stored in Google Drive or local storage. If you haven't been diligent, well, now would be a good time to start sweating. You'll need to access your backup manually. Log into Google Drive and download the latest backup, or if you saved it locally, dig it out from the backup folder or your local storage. Download the latest Home Assistant image for your device and start the installation process. Wait for the Home Assistant welcome page to appear. Once it does, do not click Create My Smart Home unless you enjoy rebuilding everything from scratch. Instead, go for Restore from Backup. Upload your backup file. When prompted to select what to restore, choose Full Backup unless you like surprises. Click Restore again for confirmation. Give it time. Home Assistant is putting itself back together like a smart home phoenix rising from the ashes. If you don't see the login screen for a while, just refresh the page. Sometimes Home Assistant needs a little nudge. Now that Home Assistant is back up, check your automations, integrations, and devices to make sure everything is working as expected. You did it. You survived a smart home catastrophe. Take a deep breath, pat yourself on the back, and maybe, just maybe, set up even more frequent backups. And if you didn't have a backup, well, let's not talk about that. Just start fresh and never make that mistake again. Now go enjoy your resurrected smart home, and try not to break it this time.
Chapter 9. VM Cloning.
If you're running your Home Assistant OS on a virtual machine like me, cloning your VM is a fantastic way to create a safety net before making major changes. Why clone your VM? Instant backup. Unlike traditional backups, a VM clone is a fully functional copy of your system, ready to boot at a moment's notice. Testing ground. Want to try a risky update or install a new add-on? Test it on the clone first. Disaster recovery. If something breaks, you can switch to the clone VM in minutes. My VM runs on a Synology network attached storage, so I'll use that for this demonstration. Let's clone your smart home. You can't clone a running VM, so shut down Home Assistant first. Open the VM interface and navigate to your VM manager. Locate your Home Assistant VM. Select the clone option. Give it a unique name to avoid confusion. Wait for the cloning process to complete. Start your original Home Assistant VM. Now, you have two identical virtual machines with the same Home Assistant setup. If something ever goes wrong, you've got a fully operational clone waiting in the wings, ready to take over. Smart move.
Chapter 10. Thank you.
And that's a wrap. You now have a rock-solid backup strategy to keep your Home Assistant setup safe from disaster. Remember, regular backups are like insurance. You don't realize their value until something goes horribly wrong. A huge thank you for following along. If you found this guide helpful, or at least mildly entertaining, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your fellow smart home enthusiasts, and stay tuned for more tech adventures. Stay safe, keep automating, and I'll see you in the next one.